All right, we will call the Plan Commission meeting to order. Hello?
There you go. Not missing enough.
Everybody have a chance to take a look at the minutes?
Move to approve. Second.
Got a motion second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Public hearing on conditional use permit, 6-month follow-up review for Hudson School District's electronic message display sign at 1501 Vine Street. It's the Hudson School District. This is a public hearing. It's your opportunity to weigh in on the issue at hand here, and which is the electronic sign outside of the high school. And it's up for a 6-month review. So if you do have a comment, if you would come up to the mic and stand here, please. Identify yourself, your address, and try to keep your comments brief. Try not to repeat comments. And I think that's it. We have anybody?
Not online, but staff did receive a comment via email prior to the meeting tonight. Okay. And it's from Dan Bushman at 1303 St. Croix Heights. He said he's unable to attend tonight, but wanted this to be read into the record. So, as a 33-year neighbor of the high school, I'm voicing full support for the permit allowing the high school's signage on Vine Street. Since moving to my residence in 1989, I, like every resident in the area, have been 100% fully aware that the high school is where it is. I have watched that property change and morph dramatically as the school's district's needs grew, and I've always accepted those changes because it would be nonsensical not to. Have no doubt my property's been affected from the latest expansion of the high school's footprint, but it would be silly for me to complain or even point fingers. I drive past the sign every day and frequently in the evenings. I was pleased to see it put in place. It appears to be a technology that is nicely readable without a large amount of glow. Light pollution is a real thing, but I do not see the sign as a significant contributor. The sign contributes to the high value of the school district by announcing events and activities in the school district is a recognized significant contributor to higher property values in the city. I encourage the city council approve the permit and to move on to bigger issues.
Okay, thank you.
Don Gilbert's here. I think he wants to.
Yes, sir.
I'm hoping that they'll read mine.
I'm Don Gilbert. I live up by the high school, the football field, pretty much in my backyard. And we had some discussions last time about the sign and whether it was on all night or wasn't on all night. And we had some terminology differences when I sat down with the superintendent afterwards in that light. And I said it was on at 3 o'clock. He said it was off at 3 o'clock. Well, he said, when we got to talking face to face and each other, the movement sign, the colored portion of it, you shut it off at 11 o'clock. And I think they do that. But the rest of the sign is still on because I can still see it from my living room window where I am, which is 100 yards on the other side of the football field. And another thing I'd like to say is that they did make gains in what they said they were going to do. One was noise, one was lighting. I think they made lighting, they eliminated the lighting in the backyards from the driveway that goes around the school building. The sconces, they just limit it to the sconces that are on the side of the building. Big improvement. However, the windows, the light coming from the windows, shines right into everybody from my house north into their bedroom windows. Now, it doesn't look bad when you're inside it, okay? Because I had a tour of the inside of the building, and they dimmed the lights in there, and they appear to be dimmed. But when you have glass, the size of that glass, and just as this picture here, I'll pass it around. This is the entrance to the school. If you look at the windows, that whole parking lot is lit up, so the windows don't show up in a lit up parking lot like they do in our backyard where it's dark. I'm just gonna pass this one around, but look at the windows. The windows on the north side, or the east side of the building, which is our backyard, our bedroom windows face west. These that I'm talking about face east. And they're bright. All they would need to do is to put some kind of a curtain that would you could raise it in the daytime if they wanted to, and...
Excuse me, Don.
Yes.
I just feel I need to interject here. This is a public hearing about the electronic sign only.
Yes, and this is all part of it, being a good neighbor. And this is what some of the things that they had agreed that they would do, and that's what I want to show you.
But right now, what we're talking about is the electronic sign.
Okay, the electronic sign, I'm going to tell you I don't have a problem with. I do have a problem with what they said they were going to and what they did do. You know, they didn't go enough on the lighting. If you go up there into that parking lot tonight, all these pictures, if you want to take a look at them, I'll leave them here. We're taking that between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. But it looks the same if you go up there at 10 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night. Take a look and see how bright that is. They have 24 highlights, doubled on each one. He said, it's for security. I said, well, if I had wanted security, I'd put them in the back of the school. He said it's the same in the back of the school. It is not the same in the back of the school. There are, I believe, 6 lights, if I remember, on tall posts, all on the west end of the building. There's a picture of if you look on the back, there's writing on them, but if you look at the back of the building where they're just sconces along, and that's the one that has the red on the bottom of the picture, that's all lit up just from the sconces. That's all they need. They don't need all these parking lights. I asked somebody how much it cost, how much they would save. He said, I said, just guess, tell me, because he's in the business. And he said someplace between, I'm going to give you a big number, between $35,000 and $70,000 if they reduce the lighting in that place,
Sure.
that they could do.
Don, thank you.
Yep.
Are there any other comments? Any other comments? Any other comments?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We got a motion second to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Public hearing is closed. Discussion possible action on a conditional use permit 6-month follow-up review for Hudson School District's electronic message display sign at 1501 Vine Street, Hudson School District.
So 6 months ago, we had reviewed this conditional use permit for the electronic message display with the high school sign, and there was public opinion brought forward regarding concerns with the lighting levels. And so the school district went with the neighborhood and worked together with them to fix the lighting concerns specific to the sign. It sounds like those might have been resolved with the sign, so tonight, staff would recommend maybe approving the sign for, until there's maybe, I don't know, more public concern that comes up in the future. We would just reserve the right to be able to bring it back if problems specific to the sign arise. But in the meantime, staff does recommend approving the conditional use permit without any further reviews in the future.
Okay.
I'll move to approve the sign permit.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion?
I have a couple comments.
Yep.
One, last time we were talking about this, I said that I often drove past that sign and all you saw were the time and temperature. I noticed that the signs have changed now, so it's more pertinent information to the school or school board, so I think that's a step in the right direction. However, I'm categorically against these signs for institutions, whether it be a school, a nursing home, that are enclosed or surrounded by residential neighborhoods, as far as putting up a sign like this that is exposed to the neighborhood. I don't think any of us would like to see that sign across the street from your house. And I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Public hearing on conditional use permit for Park Place Village North Master Development Plan, St. Croix Meadows LLC. All right, once again, this is a public hearing. Same thing, anybody has a comment on this, your opportunity to come up. Go to the podium, please, identify yourself and your address. Keep it brief, try not to repeat other people's comments. And I guess that's it. So, anybody have a comment? Any comment?
I will note, we did receive also another written comment from another resident regarding this one. It's from Terry Hogg, who's actually online with Zoom at this moment. Terry, if you can hear me, if you would like to speak or have me read what you've written to us in the record, feel free to raise your hand. Yep, she raised her hand.
Okay.
So we'll have her go ahead and...
Yeah, if you wanted us to read it, that'd be fine. So listen to your voice and mine. So.
Okay. So I guess I can go ahead and read through it. Terry says, "Hello, Mike. We own and live in the Park Place Village development and would like to voice a public objection to a portion of the proposed conditional use permit that they are applying for. Our objection is to the lot sizes and proposed homes that would go onto lots 1 through 29. These homes are considerably on smaller lots and are considerably smaller than the twin homes and detached single homes already in Phase 1 of Park Place Village. When we all purchased our homes in Park Place Village, we were shown a plan called Park Place Amenities in their sales brochure. This plan showed that it was laid out for a ballpark, hotel, light retail, restaurant, office space, and was zoned appropriately. After we have all invested and we have moved into our homes in the Park Place Village and St. Croix Meadows LLC goes into the city of Hudson and now asks to rezone the use of this property that is immediately to our north. Where we don't necessarily object to changing the zoning to allow for more homes, we do object to the size and price of these smaller homes that would be going onto lots 1 through 29. On the plat drawing that was sent with the notices, the first thing that comes to one's mind when you look at it is a trailer park with a bunch of double-wide trailers all crammed into the space. Actually, if you go look at a trailer park, you'll find that there's a lot more space between the trailer homes in the trailer park than what there is shown on this proposal. With the majority of lot numbers 1 through 29 being only 50 feet wide and the possible building pad being 40 feet wide, there could easily be only 10 feet between the eave drip lines. We believe that these homes would considerably harm the value of our existing home in Park Place Village. We would, however, be supportive if the new development would have the same size lots and the same home sizes and styles that are currently built in Park Place Village. If given the choice between what they're proposing now and the office space and et cetera that it is currently zoned for, we would pick the office space that was planned any day of the week. Best regards, Terry Hogg, 2318 Park Place Court.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Terry. Any other comments? Any comments? Any comments?
Move to close.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Public hearing is closed. Discussion on a conditional use permit for Park Place Village North Preliminary Master Development Plan, St. Croix Meadows LLC.
So as you'll all note, this is just a simple discussion item tonight. We're not looking for any action on this. City staff are awaiting some updates to the final master plan and plat before we can make action on this. So with that, the proposed planned residential development CUP is proposing to add additional housing to the St. Croix Meadows neighborhood north of the existing Park Place Village residential development. Development setbacks, green space, landscaping, roadway width, sidewalk trail, and public utility locations are all kind of still in the process right now as far as where they'll be located and in the process of revision, but those specifics will be worked through and throughout and brought forward in a final master plan to you all. But in the meantime, if you have comments or questions that you'd like to discuss, now is the time to do so.
Have the sizes been talked about with the developer?
Yes, we actually just met with them today to talk
Okay.
about those.
Where did that go? How did that pan out?
To be honest, I was not at that meeting. That was
Okay.
between Mike and the developer, so
Is the developer here?
I don't, yep, yep, okay. Would you like to come forward and speak on that?
Actually, I'm not the developer, I'm the builder, purchasing from the developer. So, but we're working on the project hand in hand. My name's Jeff Warren from Divine Custom Homes. First of all, I'll just pass these out. These are not a trailer park house, just
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. In the current phase of Park Place, we have single units and twin homes, and then the fourplex units. The singles and the twins are completely built and sold out. During that process, there's 12 singles and there's 6 twin homes, so 12 units of twins. During that sales phase, we had, I'd say, upwards of 50 people ask if we had a smaller plan, because the units that we're building there were 2,300 square feet, and with the optional finished space, basically 3,000 square feet. So in this next phase of Park Place, we were trying to accommodate those people, something that had a little less yard, a little less space. The price point of these are going to start around 600, which is more than what the singles were started out in the first phase. So value is higher on these than what originally started for the singles in phase 1.
These ones here, you're saying are starting at 600?
At 600.
And these are going on lots 1 through 29, is that?
On lots 1 through 29. Those are 2 elevations. We have a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom. And like we did in the first phase, there'll be 6 separate elevations that'll be planned out on the 24 lots? 24 lots. So that way it doesn't all look the same. There's a little personal identity to them all. The coloring and product mix will be the same. So the idea is that the second phase feels like the first phase, and it's just looks like one community. These units will be brought in under the covenants of the first phase as an addition. So Park Place North, which, as we call it, will be added. The 49 units will be added to the 53 in the first phase. Factually, there's Carmichael Ridge has, what was it, 40-foot wide lots. We're actually building on 50-foot wide lots, which there's a big section of Carmichael Ridge that has 50-foot wide lots. So these aren't even the smallest lots in town. So I don't know, any questions?
Without getting deep down in the weeds, how close are they together? What's the gap between house to house?
10 feet, similar to what's in Carmichael Ridge.
Okay.
Yep, almost
Is that
identical.
typical? And I heard through a conversation, people are wanting that nowadays?
Well, if you have a choice between a party wall and not a party wall, almost hands down, everybody's going to choose no party wall.
Yeah.
Do they care if there's much side yard? No. There's enough to do some landscaping around it. Obviously, we'll have a landscape plan that goes with these, similar to what's in the first phase of Park Place, so.
And you guys are well aware, and I'm down the road, there is a quarry that blasts.
Yep.
That when you
My
sell-
office building is across the street, so I hear it every time it goes
So,
off.
yeah. That purchaser, so a year from now or 2, we get people coming in here and they're saying, well, we didn't know it was a rock quarry right there blowing things.
Selective memory.
Yeah. But it happens.
Right, oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think, all of Hudson up there hears the quarry blast, so at some time, that's probably a bigger conversation for
Yeah.
what you want to do with
It
the
is.
quarry.
I want to make sure it's on the record that it was brought up.
Yeah, sure.
Anybody else? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Tiffany, just
No action on that
no
one.
action. Anybody, any other conversation, discussion? Okay, ready to move on? All right, discussion possible action on a recommendation of common council to partially discontinue a portion of public right-of-way Shannon Lane, generally located northeast of Park Place Village, St. Croix Meadows LLC.
So the applicant has submitted a request to vacate a portion of Sharon Lane, specifically the easternmost portion. They would like to take that portion of right-of-way to add it to a private property residence to be platted for a single-family residence use. If discontinued, this 3,784 square foot portion, as I said, would no longer be part of public road right-of-way, which is currently Sharon Lane. Public hearing for this resolution, which was introduced to council at its last meeting, is scheduled for January 3rd with the council again. With that, staff does recommend approval of this resolution and discontinuance recommendation, unless you have any questions or concerns.
Move we approve resolution 123 onto the council.
Yeah, it would be approved by council.
Yep. Okay, got a motion and a second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on a zoning map amendment from RM1 multiple family residential to R2 two-family residential at 1531 and 1535 Namacoggin Street. Team Johnson Real Estate.
So Team Johnson has provided a rezoning application to rezone their two parcels at 1531 and 1535 Namacoggin from RM1 multiple family residential to R2 two-family residential. The purpose behind this is specific to setback restrictions. RM1 lots tend to have much larger setback requirements versus an R2 zone. And with the way these lots are laid out, it makes it pretty difficult to build a simple zero lot line twin home. So with that, they would like to rezone to R2, which would have less restrictive setbacks. A neighborhood meeting was held on September 15th, and a public hearing for this rezoning is scheduled to take place on January 3rd with council as well. So that, as it's a rezoning consideration, the Plan Commission does have the option to choose 3 different choices, either approving, denying, or postponing the rezoning.
I move we approve the rezoning comprehensive plan amendment as presented.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion?
I'm sorry, you know what, I couldn't hear Randy's motion, I'm sorry.
I'm moving to approve the rezoning and the comprehensive plan amendment as it's presented.
Thank you.
Discussion? No? Hearing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion possible action on a zoning map amendment from AR agricultural residential to RM1 multiple family residential and a comprehensive plan land use amendment from general commercial to medium density residential at St. Croix tax parcel 020-1087-80-001.
So as a recently annexed property, this parcel is currently zoned as AR agriculture residential. To coincide with the development goals of a multifamily structure, the applicant has applied for a rezoning to RM1 multiple family residential, with the addition of a land use map amendment to also move that from general commercial to medium density residential. So in an effort, again, with like the neighborhood, the applicant held 2 neighborhood meetings, one on September 13th, 2021, and then a more recent one here in November 28th, 2022. The information from those meetings is attached into your packets for tonight. But I will also note that this rezoning has a public hearing date set for January 3rd at the council as well. The applicants are also here tonight if they would care to add any further details to what I've mentioned.
All right, let's see if we can get the presentation to work here. Apologize, we just had some technical difficulties. The other computer we had died, so hopefully this one works. All right.
There we go.
So So, let's see here. There we go. So my name's Kevin McDonald. I'm regional project partner for Lincoln Avenue Capital, based here in Wisconsin. Our company, though, is a nationwide company based out of Santa Monica, California. And we're a nationwide affordable housing workforce developer working in about 15 states now, but I'm specifically focused in Wisconsin. All the developments that I'm working on are in Wisconsin, and that's my long-term plan is to stay working just in Wisconsin. So that's one of the things we always like to highlight while we're nationwide. We have our local representatives who have a long-term vision, and we're looking to always create great long-term partnerships, and everything we develop with the idea to be a long-term holder of the real estate. So we're very excited about the opportunity to develop in Hudson and think Hudson is a great community. A few other things I just wanted to highlight. We've got a vertically integrated in-house development team, which includes in-house construction oversight, design oversight, and asset management. And so our nationwide expertise we bring to work with our local property management partners and local design team and the local engineers that we work with. So next, just a little bit of planning context on where the site is. So the site is just off of Stage Line Road, just to the west of the Lighthouse development, and I guess somewhat east of the Wood Hill Senior Apartments and east of the hospital. So just surrounding uses, the Lighthouse neighborhood is single family. To the south of us are some duplexes. Further south of the Red Cedar Canyon townhomes, and then farther east is a mix of single family and rental condominium homes. Next, just what the comprehensive plan currently calls for. So our site is there in red. Let me, does my cursor work here? Can you see my cursor? Maybe not, but you can see the Lighthouse development is shown in yellow there, calling out single family. So currently it's called for general commercial, but we are surrounded by medium density residential, which is what we're asking the comprehensive plan to be updated to. Next, just quickly touching on some of the 2040 comprehensive plan key takeaways. Really the need for housing and the call for different types of housing, including multifamily and diversity of housing, are many of the key items that we think our development fits in with. And then I will just say, since the comprehensive plan was completed in 2021, it's hard to believe, but the need for housing has continued to be exacerbated, and we're seeing it all throughout the state. And I guess we've really heard it from a couple different groups, one being the school district, and then another just the need for housing with the new clinic, and some of the retail businesses, and just the need for housing for their workforce. So next, here's our site plan. So here, we've really been working since May of 2021, and throughout the process, we've had a lot of back and forth working with city planning and 2 neighborhood meetings. And initially, we had like a townhouse concept that we were working through, but we were really taking up a lot more of the 5.7 acre site. So we worked with city staff closely to come up with a 3-story concept, which you see in blue there, which includes underground parking. We've got about 45 stalls for the 38 units, and a small amount of surface parking stalls, which I think is about 25 surface parking stalls. But One thing that some of you may or may not know is the site has quite a bit of grade. So on the east side where the homes are, some of the grade changes are up to like 40 feet. And so it ranges from 20 to 40 feet of drop off along that east side. So we've designed the building to take advantage of that drop off to be as sensitive to the neighbors to the east as possible. So they'll be mostly looking down over our site. The building is also set back about 180 feet, and in many places much more than that from where those homes are. So there's quite a bit of distance there, and we're also committed to providing a landscaping buffer, probably some like more evergreen type trees along the east side to make sure, with the surface parking, that we do have a nice buffer for the residents and are being as sensitive as possible. And then next, just to the north, closest to the highway, we're planning to touch that area and keep those big trees to keep that buffer as much as possible. Here's just an example elevation. So you can see the concept that we're looking for. The thing I'd call out here is just on the ground floor, we're providing individual entries for those ground floor residents to have more of a townhouse feel in the 3-story building. Next is just the development will be either Wisconsin Greenbelt Home Certified or Enterprise Green Communities Certified. We do try to incorporate solar whenever we can, and all of our developments are solar ready if we aren't able to put solar on from day one. Common area features, we have an on-site property management office, fitness center, community room, and we'd also plan to put a playground on the site. Oops. There we go. The need for housing, as many of you know, the need continues to grow. So just have a few charts here showing kind of what the current status of the market is. So on the left, you can see stabilized vacancy rates. Back in 2012, vacancy rates were around the 5.5%. And now they're at an all-time low, and the vacancy rate is currently under 2%. So real estate economists would tell you that that's a very challenging situation and makes economic growth challenging, and it's very challenging for new residents to be able to live and move into the community and have the type of mobility where an economy can and operate at its fullest potential.
Where'd you pull these rates?
These are from CoStar.
Okay, from what geographical area?
For Hudson. Just overall Hudson CoStar market. And then the market asking rents, as of late, the projection has really ticked up, which is consistent what we've been seeing over the last 6 months in certain markets. It is pretty extreme, but we have seen this in other markets where the asking rents have really gone up as of late, which is obviously being driven by high inflation and high building costs, et cetera. So the average rate right now is about $1,300 per unit. Next.
What size unit are you looking at there?
That's just the average, so it's spread between 1, 2, 3, whatever types of units are in that market data. Our units are a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. And so average home values in Hudson, I guess as we previously heard, home values are high, and that's really what's driving the challenge with the housing market. Being a Madison native, I was shocked to see how much higher Hudson's single-family home values were higher than Madison, significantly being the average at $485,000. Here's just some local job statistics. We've heard a lot of questions on who needs housing, who in the community would qualify for the housing that we're developing. So On the left, you can see the annual income that is needed to qualify for a home in the community. The number is somewhere around 100,000, and the different bars are based on what type of down payment you're putting down and you're able to put down. But the long story short, we just have a list of actual local jobs and the average salaries for those jobs. And so you can see, bank tellers in the area are making $34,000, preschool teachers, $38,000, nursing assistants, $38,000, and tax preparers, $55,000, and even police and sheriff making $82,000. So all of those workforce employees for the community don't make enough in the community to afford to purchase a home, especially those that are starting off. And so as part of the affordable housing tax credit development that we're doing, the income limits are up to 80% of the county median income, which again for St. Croix County are quite high because those numbers are also driven by being in the Twin Cities MSA. So a one-person household can make up to $65,760. If you're a five-person household, the number is just over 100,000. So you can see the average hourly wage equate. So basically, the average hourly wage is just over $30 an hour to $48 an hour. Excuse me. And then on the bottom, you can see the one-bedroom, two-bedroom, and three-bedroom rent limits for what the affordable housing is that we're proposing. So our average gross rent on our one-bedrooms is about $1,000, two bedrooms is about $1,200, and a three-bedroom is about $1,400. So you can see it's a significant discount from the market. This is all kind of similar, but just here's a breakdown of who typically lives in a housing tax credit development. 25% of renters we usually find are either empty nesters or seniors. That's kind of broken out from the list above, with 25% being retail employees, 20% hospitals and clinics. We would expect the number here to be a little bit higher because of the new clinic and the hospital being right down the street from us. Again, 18% administrative, 15% teaching, daycare related jobs, and construction jobs are actually lumped in there as well. 10% hospitality, tourism, travel, hotels, and then 12% are typically receiving some type of Social Security, whether being retired or young survivor or some type of disability. I won't go through this ad nauseum, but basically the economic benefits of workforce housing are created through, at first, the local construction jobs, and then obviously helping local businesses retain employees and hopefully provide a competitive advantage for having high quality housing for those employers' workforce. Project timeline, as discussed, we've had a number of neighborhood meetings and obviously have a number of future meetings here, but our hope is to submit our WIDA tax credit application early in 2023, and we hope to come back to you with final construction plans towards the end of 2023 and get started as shortly after that. And then Jeanette just has a few things I think she wanted to add. Oh, sorry.
You can be my clicker. I don't want to duplicate anything that Kevin has already said, but what we did find from the first neighborhood meeting to the second one that I needed to educate myself on too was the difference in the type of workforce affordable housing. From the first meeting we had, the perception was this was Section 8 housing, which is a voucher program from the government. That is not the case. This is the developer gets income tax credits from the IRS to provide affordable or attainable, what I like to call, housing for people that are in the workforce. So in Hudson, we already have several of these: Mississippi Flats, Heritage Cottages, similar projects. Go to the next one. The Maxwell, which is just down the street from my office, and next one, Boulder Ridge on Dominion Drive, just to name 4 of them. There are several more, but those were the ones I highlighted. We went through and analyzed valuations of housing nearby, because one of the concerns we heard initially was it might depreciate their housing value, and that's not the case at all. Since 2012, houses in all the surrounding areas to those went up 2.4%. And then Kevin already talked about the need for housing, but I would just like to say, with all the time you've put in supporting the Hudson Medical Center, this would be an ideal place for those employees to live, so that they don't have to drive 30, 45 miles away to find an apartment that they can afford. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
So Kevin, once again, the income threshold,
Yep.
section 42.
Yes, so the level is, if you're a one-person household, it was about 65,000, and a 5-person household, I believe, was just over 100,000.
I appreciate the fact that you guys came, it was me who asked for clarification and to dispel the disinformation that was out there on this project, so I really appreciate the detail. It's been some time since we've seen a detailed statistical numbers of the project that is proposed, so thank you, and I think this would probably be a good asset up there. And don't forget, hotels need people to live too, so.
Yes. Jeanette just wanted me to clarify that those are the maximum numbers, the up to.
Right. All right,
So
anybody else?
I think you've addressed a lot of the concerns, and I know the second meeting went very well with your folks from the emails I've received, so I think are we looking for an approval tonight with all the recommendations by city staff?
Yep.
Okay, so moved.
Got a motion and a second to approve, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Discussion and possible action on downtown design review certificate for critical coordination at 519 Second Street signage.
So as this applicant has submitted a request to install a wall sign at 519 Second Street, this would be proposed to be on the front facade of the building and would be 24 square feet in area and internally illuminated. Staff finds that it does meet all of our design and dimensional requirements, therefore we are recommending approval.
Second.
Motion and second to approve, discussion? You know, one thing I noticed on here and going through these is that, like on the next one for the Chop House, it talks about the $100 fee. Is there no fee for this one?
No, there was, they paid
They paid it
in
already.
advance, yep.
Got it. All right. Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on a downtown design review certificate for 517 Second Street, Bennett's Chop House.
So Bennett's Chop House is looking to add a wall sign and projecting sign at their new business location of 517 Second. The projecting sign would be 8 square feet and internally illuminated, and the wall sign, also internally illuminated, would be 22.6 square feet. Both these signs, as staff reviewed, found to be compliant with all code, dimensional, and design requirements in downtown. Therefore, we recommend approval, again, for this certificate.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and second to approve, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on a downtown design review certificate for 206 Second Street, Schmidt's Roofing.
Yes, so Schmidt's Roofing has also submitted a downtown design review certificate for 206 Second Street, and they're looking to install just a single wall sign above their front primary entrance. It'd be 23.9 square feet in area and also internally illuminated. Once again, it meets all code requirements, so we would request approval for the certificate as well.
to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion's approved. I don't have anything. I do see here, however, that
Yes.
we've got the schedule for the meeting schedule for 2023.
Correct. Yep. So I've given you all a draft of the meeting schedule for 2023 for Plan Commission. Feel free to review, give me any feedback you have in consideration for those dates, but they are pretty standard as far as when Plan Commission is held. Generally the first and third Tuesdays of the month unless otherwise specified in the schedule. There's a couple Wednesdays thrown in there just to spice things up. So, like I said, any questions about those, feel free to reach out to me about it. But that's all I have.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for the work you've done this year. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. We look forward to seeing you all next year.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. We stand adjourned.